Hi, everyone.
I saw your tweet and I was inspired. It's a little eye hat.
It looks like
It
you have a
doesn't
little
fit quite as
tiara.
well as it did on Helen. Here, let me put it. Nope.
Oh no. Eyeballs down, eyeballs down. Hi, everyone. It is Friday, which means it is time for another Paint and Slay. You have us, Lauren and V, who clearly are ready for our Fridays, evidently.
Absolutely, yeah. Good news, I have now confirmed that even after dropping this on the ground, I've done a very good job of super gluing all the ice socks in.
I mean, hey, that's not a bad way to find out that you're good to go when it comes to your minis. So yeah, we're going to be going into episode 2 of our Iris the Beholder, which we're building from the WizKids Frameworks Beholder miniature set, which is in this lovely box. And it's basically, it's putting the pieces together, literally, of your miniature to create a beholder of your own design. And we had a little fun going kit bash mode. We put some eye stalks where they're, that was going to sound, we put some eye stalks in different places than what would have normally have happened, just to kind of make it look a little bit more like Iris, our lovely Iris and our logo right here. But if you pick up this kit, if you pick up the kit, it does come with a little one sheet of how to put things together for you and kind of give you a quick little guide in that respect. But before we get into picking up with round 2 of what's probably gonna be 4 episodes for this Beholder miniature, Lauren, what do we have going on today in the game?
Well, it is just after noon Pacific, so if you haven't logged into Idle Champions in the last 2 minutes, you should, because we are on the next day of our anniversary celebration. So you can log in to get your next birthday chest. And remember, if you get 4 out of the 7 birthday chests, you will unlock the Vecna Cultist Viconia and all of the fun stuff that comes with her. And all you have to do to get that is make sure you log in once a day and collect that chest. And the next one is available now. So, hey, if you're listening to this, go ahead and get your game started. Enjoy a little bit of Beholder kit bashing magic and get yourself some cool birthday gifts, because it's our birthday, so you get gifts, which I kind of like.
I do kind of like that one.
Yeah, we give you gifts on our birthday. Exactly. And then there was another announcement that went out this morning, and the blog should be going live as we're speaking. But we've got our next charity familiar is going to be coming to the game, and the person responsible is going to be coming to Familiar Quest. So Kelly Butler, better known on the interwebs as the Opera Geek, is going to be joining a Familiar Quest starting this Monday. As Series 2 continues on Mondays at 5 p.m. Pacific, and she will be playing Scotty. She will be playing the rescue pup, who is absolutely adorable.
Actually, that's the one I forgot to grab. I knew I was forgetting one. If you keep vamping, I can get that pulled together.
I will totally vamp. So that is a familiar that is going to be, you know what? I'm actually going to grab the blog. So there's going to be a blog going live, if not now, in moments. And Scotty is going to be for Take This. Scotty gets released into the game on Wednesday, September 21st at 12 p.m. Pacific. There we go. There's Scotty. Every time the key art just kills me. It slays me. It's so good.
It's so darn cute.
So yeah, so we haven't been able to do announcements for these kinds of charity familiars as early as this, but this is kind of we're trying something new and we're having a lot of fun with announcing this super early and then letting Kelly have the opportunity to play Scotty, the rescue pup familiar, in a familiar quest leading up to when Scotty goes live in the game. So check back on Monday to watch her play. And then, and obviously we will be talking about this a little bit more, but Wednesday, September 21st at 12 p.m. Pacific is when Scotty goes live in the game. All net proceeds from the first week of Scotty sales will be donated to Take This, which is a fantastic organization. If you are a video gamer or a tabletop role-playing gamer who have been in the space for a while, you've probably heard of Take This. Head over to takethis.org and find out more. Also, the wonderful Dr. B who has been doing Champions of Psychology with us for quite a while, is an ardent supporter and promoter and person who makes Take This happen. So all kinds of good things coming up.
Absolutely. So with all this fun news happening, also when we have some good news for you, if you are interested in getting this Frameworks kit, WizKids has been an absolute duel, and they have sent us a code that you are all welcome to use on their online store, which is dndmini.com. So if you want to get 10% off your purchase, okay? Not just saying the kit itself, but your purchase, go and type in Sphere of Many Eyes 10, like the number 10, off. And that will get you, and look at, thank you very much, moderators. Thank you, Jordan, for popping in the code in chat. But yeah, use that code on dndmini.com and you can get that nice little 10% discount there and enjoy.
And one last thing, which I almost forgot, if you are watching us on the Steam front page, hello. Thanks for joining us. We've had a nice influx of people who have joined us in the last couple of days, partially because of our birthday and some cool events that are happening on Steam. Remember, if you do want to participate in the chat, you will need to come on over to our Twitch channel, so twitch.tv/CNE Games. But if you're hanging out on Steam and just listening from there and listening and lurking, thank you. I appreciate you. We appreciate you, because
absolutely,
I am a person who lurks and works all the time. So
yes, lurking and working. We're
lurking
all
and
for
working.
All right.
That's half my life, is lurking and working.
I get you. So anyways, last week we basically spent a good chunk of starting to put the Beholder miniature together after popping it out of its frameworks. So what Lauren and I did, we went a little bit rogue on our own and we put the eye stalks kind of where we thought they looked best. And with that, we did a little kit bashing by filing the post down just to make sure everything was fitting nicely. And as you can see, we each have our own little unique spread for these eye stalks, which I think is fantastic. It really is going to customize the minis and the Beholders to our own sort of personalities and getting it looking more like Iris. The other thing we did is we started putting together the face plates. So we had the eyes, the upper jaw and the lower jaw and the tongue put together. I went in on mine, and just because I had some gapping happening, I put in some green stuff into that seam line just to kind of fill that in a bit. And I gave it obviously plenty of time to cure because it's been, more than 24 hours, but that's all cured and ready to go. So basically the name of the game today is put the rest of the Beholder's, I guess we're calling it head, body, bod head.
Both.
I don't know. Both. We're going to continue assembling this using super glue. And then for some seam filling, I have a fun little trick with baking soda, not powder, baking soda and super glue that we can use. And then once that's all taken care of, we'll start going in and start to prime this, because unlike the D&D Nolzur's Marvelous Miniature line from WizKids, which does come primed ahead of time, the frameworks do not come primed. All right. You got to make sure you do that on your own. So we will be going in with some Vallejo paint primer and use that to prime this miniature today. So I'm actually going to go right for the gray one because I like how the gray is nice and neutral and it'll go well on top of this.
And I have the same.
Yeah, you have like the honker version. That's a good one to have.
It is, you know what? I don't think this goes bad. And I think
No,
this was the one that I ended up
yeah.
ordering. So I now have primer for the rest of my life.
You're set. Just make sure you shake it really, really well. And now I'm thinking of this YouTube
Here's some shaking ASMR
song I was watching this morning. So anyways, we have what looks like 5 pieces to put together. But this is where I want to play around a little bit before I actually put the super glue onto things because I just want to make sure we have a good fit. So I think our next step is there is this sort of U-shaped plate for the back of the head that I think would be best to place on back here first and kind of let that have some time to, because you can see it has a nice secure fit there. Okay. So let's run a thin bead of super glue. Remember, liquid style, not gel kind, and get that.
And when you talk about the back of the head, you mean like the bottom by the chin, right?
Yeah, the
like
bottom
right
by the chin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where that's
what I'm
2 bone plates are on the chin.
Yeah.
We're basically going to go in and turn it into a row of 3 as opposed to a row of 2. So it will look like that. So I'm going to put the super glue.
Fits together pretty well too. So
yeah. And this is always why I make sure I have cardboard underneath because sometimes super glue likes to get a little over eager to come out of the bottle.
Yeah, I've got one of my paper plates here and ready to go. Okay.
Yeah. So just a thin layer. No, that's an instrument. Thin layer of the super glues. And I'm just going to give it some time to get some air on it because it does help with the adhesion. There's like a count of 10-ish. And then I'm going to just turn it over and pop it into place on the back of the head. Ooh, that matched up lovely. Oh, I like that.
Hopefully this will be slightly easier than the eye stalks.
Yeah,
I did do my homework and got the eye stalks done, but they could be tricky.
Tricky.
There. Oh yay. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, much easier to get together.
Yeah.
And hold together.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you're gonna let that one live there for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then
sorry, I was going to say this is a good time to remind people, if you do have any questions, go ahead and put those in chat with question in big capital letters so that our wonderful moderator, Jordan, can grab those. We have a little backstage document that she can put those in. So that way, when I am hardcore super gluing my fingers together and I miss your question coming up in chat, she can grab it and put it in our backstage chat and I won't miss it.
There we go. Okay, so now the next 2 plates I want to put together are these 2 pieces because you can see we have a seam line that we want to make sure we have match up nicely. So same thing, I'm just going to run a bead to create a thin layer on one side. Let this get some air. Actually, remember to cap your super glue, folks.
There we go. I did pick up new super glue because my
sometimes it just gets funky.
And it just got to the point in where the cap was so overrun with dried glue.
Yeah, that definitely does affect things in terms of how it's sealing up. All right, so I'm going to hold this together. Hey, chat, want to be our timers again?
Yay, chat. Help us out.
Give me a count of 60 seconds.
Please, 60 seconds on the clock, please.
Here we go.
And
I like how Lurking Rider's like, yep, on it.
I feel like Lurking Rider probably already had a stopwatch at the ready after last week.
Honey, you can't come in. I'm using super glue.
She's talking to her cats.
Yeah. I don't know if the meow is coming through, but I'm getting like this.
Usually cats are welcome, but we're dealing
Once we're done with super glue, I will open the door. Okay, y'all, have you come across a cat with super glue? Have you had that joyful experience?
I would also imagine, like, because we've got baking soda here and the Mod Podge and the primer, like there's stuff on, like paint is one thing because the paint is washable pretty easily.
Okay, now I'm gonna do, let's see, do I want to, yeah, because it looks like it's holding together for me on my end.
Black Virtue, I totally agree that acetone and nail polish remover can be
It
useful
does.
for cleaning out old glue.
Yeah.
It was also one of those in where I've had that super glue for multiple months and I was probably running low and it just made more sense to buy a new one. But if it had
Yeah.
been a newer thing of super glue, absolutely. Oh, it has now been 60 seconds. Thank you.
Woohoo.
Looking writer. Hey.
Okay, so as you can see now that it's been 60 seconds, we're going to start adding in that next layer. Oh! This is where it gets a little bit finicky.
Okay, so we're still going basically from the bottom, the chin.
Yeah, yep.
Part.
To match those up together. All right, so I'm going to add that bead again. Do it again.
I might need to wait a second.
What happened?
Well, it's fitting really nicely on one side.
But the other side is a little bit skewed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do the best you can to sort of even it out, and then we can do the seam filler trick. Because I noticed the same thing.
Yeah, there's like there's a post that looking at it actually makes me think it's supposed to go into a groove somewhere.
You basically want these little lips to tuck behind here.
Yeah.
So you actually want to approach it so that this piece sort of comes swooping in, not placed directly on top.
Yeah,
almost like a dovetail joint in a way.
I can get the one side. It's gonna be hard to show on camera. I can get
it's gonna be tricky.
If the face is looking at me, I can get the part that's on the left really nicely fitted, but the part that's on the right is
a little skewed. I have that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that too. I think it's just the nature of the it happened with the other one that I test fit too. And that can happen. Yeah. Literally the beast.
I'll be a little behind on gluing, but it was better to make sure I wasn't gonna whoopsie that.
Yeah.
So, here we go.
All right. Trying to be good and let this rest before I start putting more things together. Bump, 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 bump.
Yeah, we are in that part of assembly, which is kind of the same as when we were doing painting, where eventually you're like, I just have to wait for this to dry.
Yep, exactly.
I just have to wait for this to dry.
Well, while we're waiting for this to dry, do we have questions?
We do, but I'm about to put mine together, so give me 10 more seconds.
I got you at the bad timing. 15 seconds to go.
I needed to get myself into a position where I could use a hand.
Fair.
Dota 2 Norax asks, question, since yesterday's update, my game freezes as it loads. After checking Reddit, there are several players with the same issue. Is this behavior being looked into? Since it doesn't provide a crash, it's kind of invisible for you. Also, are we losing the 5th anniversary presents? Well, the good news is for the 5th anniversary presents, you just have to log in sometime within the next 24 hours. So you still have plenty of time. I have heard about some people having issues this morning. I don't know about the specific issue you have, but I have heard about some freezing. My suggestion is shut down the game, shut down Steam, and try it again if you haven't in a little while. If it's still doing that, you can submit a support ticket through email. Because most of the time we ask you to submit a support ticket through the little support on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. There's a little blue button that you click on. But obviously, if you can't load the game, that's a problem. So submit a support ticket through the email address, which I had here for a second. I want to make sure I have the right one. And let us know what's going on, and our support team can definitely help you out because it shouldn't be doing that.
No, definitely not. Okay, so I'm dry.
Can I let go? There we go. Yeah, it looks like I'm dry too. So you can see this side is all nicely, this side is all nicely together, and this side has I can see
bump.
through
Okay,
it.
so what we're gonna do for that, since you have a see-through issue, and I can show you through here, we're gonna do a back seam fill. Okay, so take your super glue.
Okay.
And the side that you want to fill in more.
Yeah.
Hold on, I have a little nubbin of super glue I need to remove. You're going to put super glue on the inside seam.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get this angled so everyone can see, and I can see too, because blind super glue I don't recommend. And I'm just going to run a bead of super glue on the inside where that gap is happening. Okay.
Okay.
And then this is where the baking soda is going to come in. Then I'm going to quickly sprinkle baking soda in the area of that seam. And you kind of want to have it sort of fill up like you're spicing it up a little bit, like you're adding spices to a stew. Just sprinkle it in.
Okay.
Hey, Herb. How you doing? I just saw your name in chat.
Oh, I just got super glue all over my hands, and that's okay. But I got excited about herbs, so all right.
There you go.
Super glue and baking soda.
Yeah. So I'm going
this
to
is going to be the
of...
freshest beholder ever.
Yep. So I'm just kind of moving it around a little bit so it can catch that super glue, and then I'm going to turn it upside down and just sort of pat it out over my bowl again. And what that does is it goes in and it fills that seam up for you.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So then on the other side, you're not going to have issues of being able to see through. Now you can also do this on the...
That's cool.
Yeah. You can also do it on this side, but you have to do a finer bead of super glue. And you can sprinkle this in to start to mask the seam that's happening here. You can do that as well if you so choose. If you feel it's a big enough gap.
That one is okay. I was able to get the little gap, like just now, is able to kind of get the gap that's between that whole section. Okay. I think it looks good to me anyway.
Great. So that's something you can do to help with filling in seams. If you want. Yeah. In fact, now that I'm looking, I may even do that again down here. I'm seeing
I'm covered in baking soda.
Yes, you will be. First. Yes, you will be. So I'm going to do the same thing down here because I was noticing there is a little bit of sunlight coming through on the bottom there.
Meanwhile, Tigress Dark asks, after watching the last stream, my daughter wants to know if all the streamers have pets, and also does Orkira have a pet?
Cute.
Do all the streamers have pets? I do not have a pet. Lauren, the human person who is talking to you right now, because at the moment, me and my lovely partner we're in a nice apartment, but we want a dog, and we're in a place where we can't quite have a dog just yet. V's got your menagerie of cats. Let me think. Trevor has a cat.
Yep.
Sean has a cat. There's a lot of cats.
There are a lot of cats. We have a lot of moles.
A lot of cats.
We have a lot of moles. Alexis has a dog, doesn't she?
Yes. Yep. She has a dog.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of at the moment. But hey, that's not a bad question to ask the other streamers if you're watching those shows. As far as Orkira, she does not have a pet. I do a lot of planes hopping, and you can't really take care of a pet when you're always going into danger. And I have a hard enough time protecting the people I'm supposed to be protecting. If I also had a cute little puppy, it'd be bad. I'd have to death ward the puppy all the time.
Okay, so I just did a seam fill on the outside, which is basically the same thing. But what I did differently is I didn't let the baking soda sit as long. I plopped it on top really fast and then quickly tipped it over. And what that did is filled in that line that happened there. And then I need a brush. I'm just going to take the brush and literally brush off the excess baking soda. So it helps kind of fill that in a little bit more.
I don't think...
If you don't need to do it, then you don't have to do it.
I don't think so. Like, I can see the seam, but actually, because the seam I was looking at, that's the one that you're filling in, I had actually filled in on the other side, and now that it's filled in there, it actually looks pretty good here. Awesome. I feel like if I try to do that on the opposite side, I'm just going to end up with extra that I'll have to file down anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so now we're going to put crown to the rest of the head.
Oh, let's see.
And this is one we're going to want to put a little bit more pressure when we do this to get these to match up. a little bit more, but I'm definitely going
Yeah.
to do some seam filling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that super glue around the crown and then put it to the rest of the bod head. I'm going to start calling it the bod head.
The butt head.
The bod head.
Yep. I will do the same. Let me make sure that I know the direction I'm doing this in so I don't have to fumble
Yeah.
quite as much. Okay, like that. Because this is kind of the big seam.
Mm-hmm.
And excuse me if I'm leaning off frame, but this is where my light is, and
No, it makes
super
sense.
glue requires light.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Do. Just quickly.
Oh, ow. There we go.
You okay?
Yeah, I just had enough super glue on my thumb where I was pressing down on the super glue that for a moment I thought I'd super glued myself to the super glue.
Oh dear. All right, so I'm gonna.
All right, we're definitely gonna need that time on the clock again.
Yeah, and this is almost like you kind of want to gently clamp it together as best you can, trying to avoid pressing on the eye stalks themselves. Yeah, and the seams.
Yeah.
That is the tricky part here. Okay.
Lurking Riders got our backs. Excellent.
Yay!
I've got mine together as well, and I think I've got a
little seam
decent hold on it. V, do you feel up for answering some Voronika voice questions?
Sure.
Okay. So we've got Dragon Zealot saying, greetings from the Balkans. Hello, welcome. That is late at night.
Yeah.
I have my time zones correctly.
Yeah.
So good night, good evening.
Good evening.
V, if you don't mind, I have to know, did you use Europe as an inspiration for Voronika? I am from Croatia, and a few words are now in the game, which I appreciate. Thank you. Aw.
You're very welcome. Yeah, it's one of those things where when I was creating Nika, I wanted a name that sounded beautiful and strong. And I've always found Eastern European languages to be beautiful, but also sound very strong and confident. So I did tap into checking out different words and what they meant, everything like that, when creating Koshmar. So yeah, there is definitely some nods to and incorporations of various words. I use mostly Russian. I think I tapped into a little bit of Ukrainian and German, maybe. Trying to remember. You're also asking me a question that was like 2 years ago now. I'm trying to remember when we started everything. Over a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So
and that's not even accounting for how long you and B Dave were doing planning
and
before
everything.
that.
Yeah. So it's like I was looking at different languages, Eastern European based, to kind of come together and pull what felt like a good fit for various points about Voronika. So yes, that is a thing.
Nice. Also, Vemori has corrected me slightly. It's not that late in Europe. We're around 8:30 to 10:30 at night. So good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. It's on there enough that I can do that.
Okay.
But yeah, there's seams. There are
seams. I'm gonna run a very thin line. I'm gonna do this in small sections actually. I'm gonna run a thin line on the front facing one and do that quick trick I showed you.
Yeah.
So I'm just doing a little one like that. A little bit of glue will go a long way. And I kind of tap it to encourage the super glue to sort of fall into the seam a little bit. And now I'm going to quickly sprinkle. Quickly sprinkle, and then quickly turn it over instead of letting it rest like we did on the inside. And that usually helps fill that seam in a little bit. But this is also why you want to make sure you're using a paintbrush that you have no intention of using for painting later, because your brush will probably pick up some of the super glue on the end of its bristles. So you want a disposable brush, not one that you are devoted to. And that'll just help fill that seam in a little bit more without losing too much of the texture.
Yeah.
It's a quick and easy and cheap way to fill in seams. Now, there are other products out there, as I spoke about last week, that you can get that will do this. Of course, you're paying a little bit more out of pocket, but there are things like liquid seam filler that are fantastic. I believe it's Green Stuff who makes it. You can also do take the green stuff like I did here and make it very small and put it in there, or you can mix it up with different things like Milliput and get similar results. So there are ways to fill the seams. I like doing this because, again, I am targeting this for people who are just getting started, just getting into it, and keeping it accessible so you can try it out and see if you like it before really devoting time and money into investing more into this style of the hobby. That's my goal here.
Yeah, because that's the thing. We're 41 episodes in, and this is the first time
we're doing spring work.
Yeah, that we're doing anything this that requires this much assembly, because even the other beholder that we did a lot of kit bashing, that was mostly some editing with the green stuff.
Yeah.
So I certainly appreciate having the option to use just this baking soda. So probably a little more it's probably making a slight more mess than the other stuff that you're talking about, but if we've gone this long without needing it, then it's good to not have to worry about having to buy a very specific thing. And I'm just continuing around the head here because I've got a couple other spots that were not.
I'm sorry, I just saw the comment. You're very welcome, Dragon Zealot. I honestly, like, I love to incorporate what I can, different aspects and things. So I'm tickled, utterly tickled and pleased that you enjoyed that as well. Thank you. So yeah, I'm just gonna go around.
It's always fun when you can bring into a D&D game either stuff from your own history or stuff from stuff that you've been researching. Like, that's always fun.
Yeah. I had a little wizard gnome. Was she a halfling? I think she was a halfling. Take it back, she was a halfling. And I pulled it together and I named her Speranzas di Sogni, which is hopes and dreams. Hope and dreams is what her name basically means in Italian.
I don't have too many name things that are exact, mostly because I'm bad at names. I did so I had an Owlin Ranger for a very brief kind of mid campaign between Heroes of the Plains and Children of Erte, who is named Malinky Carminic, which is just an Americanized way of saying Malinka. I'm saying it wrong, but it's basically another way of saying little thief in Russian. So it's a Malinky Carminic. It's a Malinka something. Very cute. There is quite a bit of and I talked about this a little bit for On the Erte. My character right now on Children of Erte does have a similar-ish backstory history with mine, mostly in the we both have a Jewish heritage, but that kind of Jewish heritage, and where my mom's Jewish, my dad's Catholic, my grandma's pissed. I go to all the bar and bat mitzvahs. I know that's the joke, but it's, I go to all the bar and bat mitzvahs, but my Yiddish is awful. Like, don't ask me too much about, I know just enough to be dangerous kind of thing.
Yeah.
I have my menorah out, and that's about it. So it's been fun bringing little bits and pieces of that into Neb.
I love it. Okay, so yeah, I'm basically just going around and doing some seam filling where I need type of situation, and you can see it helps sort of blend that in a little bit more. But the name of the game is to make sure you tip the baking soda off faster than what we did for the interior seam support, where it was just like, let it sit. And actually, I can show this. I can have proof positive. So I said this is actually an old nail repair trick. It really is, because this nail right here, look from a distance, this nail right here, I just did a repair work using super glue and baking soda because it has a crack happening on it. And I know I don't want my nail to go that low to the bed because it's going to hurt. Yeah. So I saved the nail by putting it in and just buffed it down with a nail file. And then I have nail polish on top. And from a distance, you really don't know that's what happened. But it holds up because these hands have been unpacking boxes and everything like that. And it's nice and secure. And it's been through 5 showers now. So
yeah. And at that point, you definitely don't want to crack your
Yeah.
nail because that
Yeah.
is nothing to do with aesthetics and 100% to do with
Ouches.
ouch.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, let me see here. Any other seams I want to while we're playing the seam game?
I've been doing the same thing, and I
think I'm at a point I'm happy.
think I'm there too. There's like one or I'm at that same point when we're doing painting and we're
Or is it
doing
enough?
dry
Yeah.
brushing, and where I'm like, I think I've actually done enough, and at this point I'm just adding it on
Mhm.
because it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna cap the super glue. You can put the baking soda away for now, at least.
Yay.
And I'm just
Yeah.
gonna let this sort of dry a little bit before we do anything else. Hold on, I'm also gonna take my piece of cardboard off. I'm going to add some deodorizer to my carpet as I shake my baking soda off my. It is a great carpet deodorizer. Baking soda, just sprinkle it on and let it sit for
But
like
you
10
do-
minutes.
You do need to vacuum it up,
I was
and
gonna have to.
and I'm in a position in where I'm not gonna be able to do that in the next like
so yeah,
6 hours. So,
So
I'm
yeah,
gonna
hold
wait.
off. Hold off on that one.
I'll do it later.
There you go. I shall do it anon.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let this sort of chill out for a little bit and let that super glue cure just a little bit more.
Yeah.
And we had in the mix that gazer where we could actually try assembling the gazer. If you'd like.
Let me say assembling the gazer when it's basically just this tiny little thing.
So we're gonna go to that clear plastic stuff, which is a lot more firm than the gray. So the little flight stand you'll see kind of pops off right quick. So we want that.
Oh, that is a little flight stand. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a wee
I
flight
didn't realize
stand.
what that was.
Yeah, it's akin to, hold on, let me grab it.
I totally thought that was like another iStock kind of thing, but now that you say it, I'm like, this is
so
amazing.
WizKids does sell gazers in a what is it, Spectre and gazer set. So this is the Nolzur's version. So you can see this is a common thing they do with the flight stands. So we're going to be doing a similar look to this. Okay, so we did pop the gazer out. It's right here. It is small.
It's so small.
You're very small. So it's going to be easiest, I think, to. I'm actually debating if I want to rough this up a little bit.
That's okay. While you're debating, I have a little bit of a extra bit of sprue.
Oh, okay.
Was that the?
Yeah. Is it sticking out?
A little bit more than I would like. So I'm just doing a little bit of filing.
So I'm going to actually take my file and remember how I said go in one direction to keep it a more smooth thing?
Yeah.
I'm going to do a quick back and forth to rough up the plastic so we get a nicer bond.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to do that and then I'm going to put super glue on the clear.
Oh, super glue, come back. Come back to me.
Little dollop, literally a little bitty dab will do ya. Definitely let this get some air to start. This is the part I hate. This is the part where I could feasibly glue myself to myself.
Yeah, this is going to be dangerous.
Yeah, just make sure you're not gluing on the side that has the eye. You want the side that sort of curves in a little bit. Right there. That's actually where I want to put it on its flight stand. And now I definitely need a timer. Boy, howdy.
Oh, jeez. Come on. Don't do this to me.
Yes, this is hilariously tiny evil turnip tea. It's
so
wee.
Small. All right. Oh, hey. So I looked over because hopefully the lurking writer is doing a timer, and I just caught
15 seconds.
Tosh Kennedy. Hi, I'm a Russian streamer. I'm playing your game right now. It's top. Welcome.
Yay! Thank you and hello. All right, yay! I have stickage.
I don't, so I'm gonna try this again.
Okay.
But I got distracted by chat.
Oh, that's
it's not
fair.
your fault. That's my fault. Totally my fault. We'll try this again.
Okay, same thing. I'm gonna rough up the bottom because if we leave this floating around without its base, boy, this is gonna be fun to find later.
Mm-hmm.
So I just roughed up the base a little bit too. Back and forth motion with my file. I'm gonna put a dollop of glue. Let it breathe.
Also, the lurking writer says if you do accidentally get the eye side, play it off as a gazer flying backwards. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, run away, run away. Do. And then just gonna very gently let gravity work with me. And I'm gonna place the gazer on top. Hold on, camera's gonna move down so you can see this better. Just attempt to. So I placed the gazer stem on top of its little base, and I'm letting gravity, once I had it balanced, gravity and the glue to work together to get, oh, there we go, to get those to bond. James Bond.
Bond. James Bond.
So there we have the little gazer. I'm just going to give it some time. Move the other gazer up there. Hi, Helen. Helen's happy holding dice right now. I should bring her down. Come here, Helen. Oh, no, we're not rolling for... No, honey.
Hi, Helen.
Hello!
Oh, yeah, there is a free time gate weekend this weekend.
Yeah.
I got so used to all of the events because it was kind of Eventapalooza for the last couple of weeks. I totally forgot that, there's a free time gate weekend happening for those of you who are... maybe it's your first time gate. Maybe you've done a bunch of them. One of my favorite things to see either in chat or the Discord, which I'm going to say, and I will drink later, discord.gg/idlechampions, are people who come to and ask, hey, I've got these 3 champions and I just glued myself. Ow.
Yo.
Hey, I got these 3 champions. Who do you suggest I pick from? So yeah, if you're in that situation, feel free to come on by. We will give you suggestions or advice or ask you questions because it's fun and it's been a while.
It is.
Been a while.
Been a while.
All right, try this one more time without the finger failure. Come on. I'm gonna be off frame for a second.
There we go. Hunching frame.
Yeah.
Yes, and for those of you who are new, this is Helen. She's sort of our little mascot. If you follow both Lauren and myself on Twitter, I usually put a little fun Twitter tweet out of Helen getting into some antics before the show. And this week she was wearing the crown of eye stalks. So she could be a roper beholder, which...
It fit really
I don't
well.
want some friends of ours to find out about that.
Yeah.
Because they'll build something out of that. But that's Helen. That's if people are talking about Helen, that's who it is.
And I'm catching up on a couple of other questions that came on in. Servaz did ask, what was the powder you're adding after the glue? If you missed it, since we were talking about it, it's just baking soda. Just regular old baking soda.
Yep.
And the Blue Rogue X says, I will say I just got into your game and it's addictive and very fun. Oh, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Great to have idle and be there for when I need a distraction, writing my own campaign. Ooh, very nice.
That sounds good.
Yeah, that is a lot of fun. And I forgot I was supposed to drink because I talked about the Discord, discord.gg/idlechampions.
I'm just going to take a drink because water sounds amazing right now.
It has been 45 minutes and we have done a lot of super gluing.
Yes. Okay, so you okay?
I'm fine.
You're fine. Totally fine.
It's just the tip of my fingers. It's fine.
No biggie.
All right,
no
Gazer,
biggie.
we're going to put you over there.
So what I want to do now is I'm going to take a little bit of the Mod Podge Ultra Matte and I'm going to apply this over where we had those seams going with the super glue and the, not hot glue, nope, baking soda. I don't know why my brain just went hot glue. Why? I'm not building terrain.
No.
And basically put a nice layer of Mod Podge Ultra, which is not Mod Podge, the paste that you might be thinking of. This is a very liquidy, a very liquidy product. And this will just help seal things up a little bit before we go in to start painting, okay, with the primer. So I'm just gonna literally open up my lid. And it's a spray action version as opposed to an aerosol. So this is something you can actually spray in your house. You don't have to wait until a nice day to seal your miniatures. You can either open it up and paint it on with a paintbrush or pump action spray it in a cardboard box and it works beautifully, chef kiss. This is all I've used. I've used this for the past 3 years now and it is amazing. So I'm going to get it just standard.
It is really nice to be able to use this and not have to worry about, you always want to have good airflow when you're doing this kind of stuff, but to not have to be like, I need to be outside because, hey, I live in the Pacific Northwest where outside is not always a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, you still want to have an aerated room, of course, but You don't need to be as worried about, like, you're going to get sealant on other things around your house. This has sort
Yeah.
of a thing of like maybe a 12-inch spray, which is, I say, put into a cardboard box when you do it, and that catches the aftermath, if you will, of when you go to spray it on. So I'm just putting this Mod Podge on directly, and because it's Mod Podge, it will stick. You don't need to worry about the primer factor.
And literally just on the seams that we added
Yeah.
the baking
Yep.
soda to. Okay.
Yep, just on those seam areas. I mean, if you spread it out a little bit, because you'll see it kind of wants to collect in the scales, you can absolutely spread it out. You want it just to be a nice thin layer.
Okay.
Is the point here. Actually, I'm going to put some on the green stuff area too that I did. Just, insurance policy.
And that's just because it gives something extra for the primer to stick to?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It sort of reinforces that bond ahead of time before the paint becomes a next layer. Because there's also a hardening varnish in Mod Podge Ultra that helps.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm playing find the seams that I haven't Mod Podged yet. I think I got them all.
I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
Yes, Urban Bohemian. It's a free time game weekend.
Yay!
It's been a little while since we've
Opens
had one of those.
Game.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Any other questions?
Yeah, actually, I just saw a bunch coming on in. Black Virtue asks, or actually gives a suggestion, any chance for user changeable hotkeys? Alt and Shift is the standard IME change language combo. I can pass it along. That's one of those where I have zero idea if that is a possibility or an easy thing or a hard thing, but I can absolutely pass that suggestion along. And Reaver01 asks, do you need a special primer since it's a plastic mini, or are your paints designed to go on plastics?
You need to make sure you get a model line of paint, or if you're going to get an aerosol based primer, like at the hardware store, because some people will do that, make sure it is something that is safe for, and this is important, all plastics, and always do a test run on a little piece of something that, like, if it's a sprue based thing, take one of the frames and test on the frame first to make sure that nothing happens to the plastic before you put the primer on. Because sometimes it can be the accelerants that make it aerated that can actually be corrosive to the plastic if you're not careful. Yeah. But I tend to go for, this is where I will invest in model specific primer. Or the other thing you can do is make your own primer with the Mod Podge Ultra, mix it with your paint color, equal parts, and that turns it into a primer. You can do that too.
Options.
Yes, I try and provide them.
Yeah. It's also good to have those options because sometimes, not even when you're doing assembly like this, but just like you have a moment in where you're doing an adjustment to a mini and something breaks or there's a little chip in something and you don't necessarily need a whole thing of primer. You just need, I just need to reprime this one spot so that it's not going to be wonky, and having those, well, I can go ahead and grab this and hodgepodge a primer.
Yep.
Which is
hodgepodge with Mod Podge.
Hodgepodge Mod Podge.
Mod Podge.
Always good to know.
Yes. Okay.
I feel like I have baking soda everywhere and it's a very weird feeling.
Yeah, you probably do.
It's like, it doesn't feel dirty, but I have stuff on my hands. I'm
it's like, gritty.
I smell good, but I feel weird.
Yes, I smell
I think I also got on my mouth.
Oh dear. All right, so I'm gonna rinse my brush now that I've got my Mod Podge Ultra all around the seams that I wanted to. The other thing we're not gonna do is we're not gonna put this up on its base yet. Pardon my hiccup. Because what's gonna happen is once the base goes on, that is going to be grayed out. So I am holding off, and actually we're just going to approach this from the, we will prime this ahead of time. And then, maybe, I don't know. Am I lying here? Hold on. Am I a liar? I don't know. I might be changing.
Well, is there a difference between putting the base on unprimed or primed plastic?
Yeah, if you
I
put it
mean,
on primed after you've primed it, you're gonna have layers of paint, so it makes it a little bit more tricky to get a good grip. But what I tend to do for this type of thing is I will buff the area that I know this is going to be attached and
mm,
create a texture between the paint line and the base itself, and that tends to help. Um, the other thing is
it-
this is very much a guessing game as to where this is supposed to live, which is why I'm hesitant to put this on now. So yeah, I'm gonna wait until we have this painted up.
okay. Then I
Because
shall
if you
wait
look
as
at the
well.
back, if you look at the back, you're not gonna have color in that area where you can see the bottom playing through. That's gonna come up gray. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do
Yeah.
that. All right, so I just popped its flight base off. I'm gonna put that in my little container of things I need to use later. And
I did the same thing mostly just to keep up
yeah,
and
okay.
gave me a chance to also grab the file and file down the
There you go.
bonus sprues that decided to hang out and come along.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
All right, so now I'm gonna move over to the primer and make sure you give this a good shake. Okay.
We're going more shaking ASMR.
Yep. Oh, this one doesn't really like it. Shake it, shake it. Here we go.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I'm assuming there's like sentiment.
Sediment.
There's
There's sentiments. There's always sentiment to the painting.
I feel so nostalgic about this primer. I don't know why.
Go figure. Shake. I can't even say it. Good one, Black Virtue. Thank you.
And I've got Shake It Like a Polaroid picture going through my head, but that is because I am old.
Shake it. See, I have Kifness's, like one of the more later collaborations he's done. It was 1, 2, shake, shake. It's a really good song. Go onto YouTube, check out the Kifness. Love what this fellow does, like collaborating. That's a new word. Collaborating with different content creators. I just smooshed a whole sentence into one word. Good.
Hey, listen, I just talked about the sentiment I have for primer, so we're both in this together.
We're good.
It is Friday.
It is. And I just opened the door so the cats can come in now because the super glue is officially away.
Yay.
Away, away. Go away. Go away. All right. Now I'm going to take this primer and we're going to prime. Hi, princess. No, we're not going to prime my cat. We're going to prime the beholder head front. And then we'll move over to the gazer while the front of the head dries a little bit. And that way we can flip it over and hold the other side, basically, is what we're going to do. Now, so it's kind of like half treatment.
Now, you obviously put it on the paper plate because you have the smaller bottle. Yes. I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing. I was just going to pull the cap off and go dunk time.
I do that all the time, quite honestly.
I wanted to make sure there wasn't a reason you were putting like a small bit on the paper plate because I especially took a moment to be like, does this brush fit in? Mm-hmm. Is this going to work? Okay. Okay, good. And we're just starting to cover the whole thing in prime.
Yep. So I'm going to like paint the front of the face and then let it dry a little bit while we paint the gazer with some primer. And hopefully at that point, we'll be able to then paint the back of the beholder. Because obviously holding this is going to be a little bit tricky.
Yeah. And this is going to take a while to dry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And by a while, I mean, like, we're going to do this and then we're probably
we need to let it dry completely before we go into paint, because otherwise we're going to run into turning this into a pink beholder, which, yes, I have a pink beholder back there, but I don't want a pink beholder because then it's not matching. Hi! Hello, cats.
Hi, kitty. For those of you who have been waiting for the attack of the cats, it has happened. No,
you can't, honey. You can't have this.
Well, getting in the mouth is going to be interesting.
It is. It's going to be a lot of poking. Rora. Oh, you think this is cat food? No, honey. I know it looks like your plate, but that's not your food. Yeah, I'm kind of just, this is also why I want to do the front first so we can get all the tricky areas in the mouth and everything angled.
Yeah.
Hit it.
And I'm kind of I'm kind of trying to go with a thick enough layer that it's going to cover everything, but not so thick that it's going to
You don't
fill
want it
in
to
all
fill in
of
the
the.
details exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, Honestly, I'm finding it's a lot of stippling work to help around the scales too, to get underneath the folds of the scale, and then sweeping it back to thin everything out a little bit. But yeah, we're going to be priming for a little while.
Yeah, so now's a good time for questions. Or if you are one of those people who have started up a time gate and are interested in suggestions for who you should pick from your free time gate weekend, go ahead and put those in chat. You can use the question in big capital letters
Yes.
prompt, even though you
Question.
might not be asking a technical question, but we get it, we understand.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll chat about all the different options for time gates, because it's been a while. There's a lot of new people who have joined in the last couple of weeks for all these events.
This is very true, yeah.
And definitely this might be your first time gate, and where
If
you're
I
gonna
could turn back time. That's where my brain just went.
Exactly. And especially if this is your first time gate, you have a lot. I mean, you'll have 3 options to pick from for the free one, but then you'll have a lot of other options to choose from. So definitely, if you want some help, we are happy to offer suggestions. I'll also give the caveat I normally do, which is there are no wrong answers. Your goal is eventually to collect them all. And you can definitely do that even if you're starting today and you're looking at all 100 champions and you're like, holy moly, how am I going to get all these champions? Absolutely. It's a little bit of work and a little bit of time. There's guides out there. Garwar has several guides for many things.
Yes.
And definitely, just with, a little bit of work and time, you can unlock all of the champions and get them pretty well geared up for free just by playing the game. So, don't feel too overwhelmed when you see those choices, and don't feel like there is a right or a wrong answer, because eventually you're going to want to unlock them all, because there are going to be adventures and variants and challenges that are going to severely restrict which champions you can use for what. And having access to the full roster gives you a better shot of being able to put together an awesome team.
Yes.
I'm very quickly getting to the point in where I have to hold the beholder back here. I might be
kind of holding by the eye stalks. I just started doing that.
See, I'm holding by the spikes in the back so that I can do all the eye stalks, but I'm very close to the point in where I think I'm gonna have to put this down and let it dry, I guess.
Yeah, let it dry a little bit. I'm getting that point too, honestly.
And then we're just going to have primer on our hands when we turn this around. I'm guessing there will be primer happening.
No, it should be dry by the time, because we're going to paint this and then we're going to switch over to the gazer. And hopefully that should be enough time to get it to dry a little bit more for us. Oh, don't forget to get the underside of the bone spikes. Just realized that when I flip this over. Got a few that I missed.
And I got a couple of these eye stalks that are curled around other eye stalks, so getting in there.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, are we only going to need 1 coat of primer?
Yeah, you only need 1 coat of primer. Yeah, it's a one and done situation.
Very cool.
Yeah. And then maybe I will do.
And let me pull up. I got behind. Death Dealer Zach asks, do your fingers ever cramp up painting and putting everything together? Which is a good question, if only to remember that, hey, take a moment and stretch. I haven't had any cramps, although I'm certainly holding on to the spiky bits. Ow. It's uncomfortable, but I haven't had any cramping. But V has done way more painting than I have. How about you?
I have had situations where I've had to stop a project because I've been working for too long, especially when it comes to terrain build stuff, because there's a lot more detail work that goes into creating textures and everything. So yeah, I've had situations where it's like, you know what, my hands are just genuinely tired. I need to stop for the day, which I don't recommend you work until your hands are fatigued to that point. That was more something where it was a commission. It was time sensitive and I need to make sure it was getting done. So I pushed it longer than I probably should have. Don't do what I did basically. But yeah, if you start realizing your hands are getting tired and your hands are getting tired when things like you're dropping your brush a lot, your mini is harder to hold on to, that's where it's like, okay, time to take a break. Even if it's like give yourself a break for 3 hours and come back to it in the same day, that's good. Just don't sit there and let your hands turn into these vice-like claws because you've been basically holding it in the same position for hours on end.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm going to let this start to dry and I'm going to move over to the geyser.
Yep, I've reached the same point. I'm just trying to find a good place to plunk this. There we go.
Yeah. No, because I'm going to do the geyser and also the base.
The base?
Yeah, it's all about the base soon.
And I will add in from my experience as an oboist who we have to make our own reeds. And so it's a lot more of that fine detail handwork that can go on for hours and hours and hours. If you don't have the option to change your grip, because this is just how you have to grab something, because sometimes that's just how you have to grab something, then definitely take those breaks when you can, because if you get to the point where you injure yourself, it just gets worse. Yeah. It just gets worse. But if you are finding that, ow, this hurts, take that extra couple of minutes and see, is there another way I can hold this that it doesn't hurt? Yeah. That was an especially true thing for oboe reeds because it's doing the same thing over and over again and holding things in the same position, where at least with mini painting, every mini is slightly different. Just a little.
It's more like things with like tile work projects. That gets to be extremely repetitive.
Oh, yeah. And no one likes a repetitive stress disorder. No one likes that kind of repetitive stress injury. No one likes it.
No, it's not good.
I'm just going to poke at this geyser a little bit. There we go. Poke. Reaver01 asked a question that we kind of touched on, but it can't hurt to be more clear about it. Would there be any reason why you can't prime a mini like that before gluing the parts together?
Yeah, it's gonna you're gonna have really weak bonds. It's better to prime everything with so many seams and trying to treat the seams and fill in the seams. It's going to get worse. And the green stuff, if you go to use the green stuff, it will not bond properly. It's bonding to a very thin layer of paint as opposed to directly to the object itself. And you'll have your seam things popping out. So it looks very zombie-esque as that starts to happen after you've painted it. Yeah, you don't want to do that before you've primed. Or you don't want to prime before you do any of that, I should say.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And since we're at the since we're at the top of the hour, everybody that's coming in new from the game, hi, how you doing? Hello. Welcome to Paint and Slay, where we're working on a hodgepodge beholder to try and look like Iris. That way. That way. There we go. If you do have any questions for us about mini painting, about Idle Champions, about, anything that we can try to answer, go ahead and put those in the Twitch chat with question before your question in big capital letters, so our wonderful moderator Jordan can grab it. If you're listening or watching on Steam, on the Steam front page, hi, welcome. Thank you for lurking and working. If you do have a question, come on over to twitch.tv/CNE Games and put your question in our chat so that we can help out. Yes. I need to grab the base because I see. There we go.
I'm just painting the base a little bit to give us some more dry time too.
All right, that totally makes sense. Yep. Jack O'Fail wants to know what level is your cat.
Which cat?
I mean, that's fair. All right, all three of them.
All three of them. Rory, God, we even joked around about this. Rory is definitely like, a high-level rogue, without question. She gets into a lot of stuff and a lot of trouble. No, because then you have my darling Cotton, who, bless him, he could not rogue if he wanted to. He is just my lovely heckin' chonk. So he's really more of like, a cleric type. Just here to make you feel better and to support as best he can.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bless our cleric cat.
Yeah. All right, I am rinsing my brush, even though I'm still using primer again. I'm just rinsing my brush because the primer's starting to dry on the brush bristles, and I don't like it.
Yeah. And Black Virtue has kind of a general question about opinions on 3D printing minis, which there's a lot of options.
There are. What's the question specifically? with 3D?
There is no specific question. Just
Oh,
what are our opinions on 3D minis
they're
that printing
fantastic.
them?
Yeah, you can absolutely work with 3D minis. I have a plethora of 3D minis that I have painted in the past. Especially the older ones where the seam lines are a lot more obvious. There were tricks you used to be able to do to fill things in to make it less, layer after layer after layer visual. But there are some that have gotten so good now where you really couldn't tell it was 3D printed. And the fun thing is that people who get into 3D printing and modeling and sculpting their miniatures on the programs and everything like that, they've come up with some really cool minis that they've designed on their own to fit what they need for their campaigns. So honestly, 3D minis
3D or 3D?
really do come in quite handy, and they're fun to work with, and there are a lot of options that you can. There's Thingiverse. There's shoot, I forgot the other. There's another website that also works really well if you want to find links and stuff.
And I have a very good friend who has a 3D printer and is a D&D player and has 3D printed a bunch of minis and terrain. I know he's backed Kickstarters that include, you'll get the whatever the file name is for the 3D printing, and you can even go on in and do adjustments. I think it's STL. I think you might be right. And that's the extra cool thing about 3D printing. If you have the stuff, because it's not cheap and there's a lot involved, but if you have it, it's super cool, because then you can go in and be like, I like the look of this mini. I just wish the arm wasn't doing that. It was doing this. And a lot of them have, especially terrain, have a lot of those kind of options. Like, oh, I want this piece of terrain, but I don't want the door that usually comes with it. You can just get rid of the door. So
Exactly.
And I see you've moved on to the back of the Beholder, so I'm going to join you.
Also, do I have?
Do you have?
I'm looking to see if I have an example of a 3D printed mini. I do, but because of its proprietary license, I don't dare show it.
That makes sense.
I cannot show it because of where character is from. Sorry.
The Mole's Revenge asks, if you have nothing but the initial champion in each slot, what's the first additional champion you would time gate for in each slot? In each slot. Oof. Ooh. And I'm going to assume that you're asking as you're going to then open up a bunch of time gates, because the free time gate weekend will give you 3 to choose from. And so you might not necessarily get an exact for this, but then you'll be earning time gate pieces as you play, and you're going to be able to open up a plethora of time gates. I don't have the game in front of me, so I'm probably going to forget some of the champions, but I know slot number 1, you're either going to want Orkira or Voronika.
Hi.
I used to just say you absolutely want Orkira. You want Orkira all the time for everything. But now there's another champion.
Another number 1.
Yeah, there's another number one. So it kind of do you want a support who heals, or do you want a support who's a Dark Lord? And go. I
mean, not wrong.
Go over one of those. I am only half joking. But both of those are really good champions. And chat will back me up that while I am partial to Orkira, she also is worth getting. And Voronika, any of the Black Dice Society champions that you can get, because that is a fun affiliation to have, and they just came out. Definitely good to have. Slot 2, I know Whittle is in, and Whittle is a super good speed champion. And also another Heroes of the Plains, so you can work on that affiliation. Slot, see, now we're getting to the point in where I have to start counting, and I'm up bad with this. Here, I'm gonna cheat and pull up a thing.
You're gonna cheat and pull out a sheet.
I'm gonna do a cheat sheet. I've got a cheat sheet here somewhere.
I got a sheet for that.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where we now have so many.
We do. There's over 100 champions.
Yeah, and trying to remember exactly which slot, because also I'm in the awkward position where sometimes I remember old information, because I'm the person who writes the blogs and prepares a lot of the content that goes out. So I am sometimes a month or two ahead of what's been released, and there might have been changes. Okay. Seat 1, yeah, Orkira Voronika. Seat 2, yeah, I'm gonna go Whittle.
Agreed. Yeah.
Korth just had a skin come out, and Korth is a lot of fun. He had the Vecna skin come out and is a different type of support than Whittle. But both of them are real good. Seat 3. Ooh, I'm gonna say either Gromma or Nahara. Gromma is an excellent tank and is a tank in situations in where often you don't have access to a lot of tanks. And Gromma is also an interesting kind of tank support where you don't necessarily have to have her at the front of the formation to get her optimal support. That was an awkward way of saying it. Seat 4. Oh, jeez. Sentry, Baloth, or Desmond would be my top.
See, yeah. I was gonna say I
Yeah.
usually go for Desmond there.
Yeah, Desmond, once again, Black Dice Society affiliation is going to be cool. Really good speed champion. And Desmond has a feature where if you have a slot in your formation that's taken up with an object or a dead body, Desmond has a feature in where he actually buffs based on how many of those are available. So if you're trying to do one of the events or if you're trying to do an adventure variant that has like hey, escort these 4 wizards, and so 4 slots of your formation are taken up, Desmond actually gives you bonuses because of that. And Baloth is just another really good, really solid buffer. And if you need another good tank, Sentry's always been one of my favorite tanks. Seat 5, I'm gonna say either. Ooh, this is also good. I'm gonna say Briv or Quillic. Quillic is once again just a really good buff. And Briv, same way, has a lot of is a really good buff tank. Buff tank. And also does an interesting speed mechanic. Seat 6. God, these are getting hard. Dungeon Master is super fun.
Yeah.
And the key reason I say Dungeon Master is because Dungeon Master is eligible for everything at all times because he's the Dungeon Master. And Dungeon Master has an ability in where you can feature a different champion and make them eligible for a thing, even if they're not supposed to be. So Dungeon Master is an interesting way to get access to, if you're doing an adventure variant in where some of your champions are not eligible, Dungeon Master might pick one of those champions and you suddenly have them eligible. And Shandy is also real good as both a support and a speed. I use Shandy a lot. Seat 7, I'm gonna say Farida, Freely, or Gosrick. Farida is just an amazing DPS. There are DPS that are stronger than her, but they take a lot more finagling. And I mean that in a good way. Like they take either specific formations or more active play or specific situations for them to pop off. And when they do, it's amazing. But if you're like me, and I know I am, and you're looking for a type of formation that you can set and forget and walk away, or you're looking for just a solid DPS that you're not going to have to worry about other people in the formation to make work, Farida is there for you. Farida is just, I'm going to destroy things. Destroy things with fire. Freely is also an amazing buffer, part of Heroes of the Plains, so you get some help on that one, on that affiliation. Words every once in a while go away from me. And Gosrick is also super strong, not just because of the Rivals of the Plains, Rivals of Waterdeep. Wow,
Yeah,
it's Friday.
It's Friday.
Not just because of Rivals of Waterdeep, that affiliation, but Gosrick has a specialization called Armor Ablation, in where literally he helps your team destroy armored enemies, which is really, really good. So depending on where you are, you might be running up against an armored boss, and Gosrick can help. Seat 8 is gonna be probably either Tatiana or Corazon, depending on whether you need a fun tank or an awesome buffer. Especially if you're picking up a lot of the Ox Ventures, Corazon is a
Yeah.
good one to have. And Tatiana is just a fun speed tank.
Agreed.
And as you're picking up more of the Black Dice Society, she gets even more fun and powerful. Seat 9 is gonna be super hard because there's a lot. Do you need more DPS? Do you need an alternative DPS? Go Birdsong. Birdsong is super fun, really fast, super fast DPS. Do you need more tanks? Go either Ayla or Lazaps. Ayla is a really strong tank, does a lot of really cool stun things. And Lazaps is a solid tank, and more importantly, is one of those that is available for adventure variants and stuff that not a lot of other champions are available for. Specifically, I think it's Strahd. There's a bunch of stuff in where you're going to be low on available tanks, and Lazaps will be there for you. Seat 9, I will say Havilar, because Havilar and Frida together are fun. But also I really like Barrowin. If you are looking for a healer who also does a fun buff for your DPS, Barrowin is super fun. Seat 11, I'm gonna say Averin makes the most sense. Yeah, you're gonna want Averin. Those mirror images are a really amazing support.
Yeah.
And seat 12, oh jeez. Penelope is adorable and also just an amazing buffer, and also every once in a while a DPS, but mostly just she's an amazing buffer. Vi is super fun as a speed champion. May not be your first pick, but maybe like your second pick when you're trying to do a lot more really fast. Celise, absolutely. Specific, first off, just a solid tank and another Rivals of Waterdeep character, but also Celise specifically is one of the only tanks that is available for Strahd patron variations, for Strahd adventures. So when you get to the patron stuff, you're gonna want Celise for sure. Yeah, I'd say those three.
There you go.
Your mileage may vary, and there are no wrong answers. And there's probably people in chat who disagree with me, and that's all okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, where I talk about seats. And you're welcome.
Da da da!
Yay!
Amazing.
And I now have, I think we both have a finished primed beholder.
Yes. Yep. I'm just letting this dry before I touch it and show you how this
Yeah.
is looking. So yeah, if you have any more questions, like now is seriously the time to ask us, and then we can start doing some wrap up stuff on our side. So we're gonna probably end the stream just a little bit early because, like I said, we don't really want to go into painting this quite yet because you want that primer to have a chance to kind of and stick and cure before we go into painting the mini in earnest. Otherwise, you might run the risk of, if you put wet paint on almost dry paint, you can actually pull the layers up on each other because they're plastic. The acrylics are plastic. So it's sort of like the two plastics will bond together and then it peels away and you start getting almost like this saran wrap like texture happening. It's not good. And it'll get cracks and no, you don't want that to happen, which is why you definitely want to make sure that this primer is dry. Like the Gazer is dry to the touch now, but I still don't want to go in and paint this quite yet. I want to make sure this is super duper dry before we paint it, which means next week we'll have fun with colors and adding some details and everything to this beholder to make it look like Iris. Now, I know we'll do the big beholder as Iris, but I'm wondering what could be a fun thing for the Gazer. Did I pick a color? I may have picked a color, but I'm open to.
If you did, then I either forgot or you haven't said.
Yeah.
I know the classic color is green, but
yes.
we're already going fun with Iris. What color Gazer would Iris have with her?
I mean, this is classic green Gazer.
I love that eye. They're just like,
why? Pumpkin orange for Spooktober, Lurking Rider says. Oh, that's cute. Yellow. Yeah. Yellow's cheerful. Interesting. So I'm seeing warm tones.
Yeah.
being suggested. Okay. Okay. I like this. I like where we're going in that one. But yeah, so next week we'll definitely do candy corn colors, not on something this size. No. No.
I mean, I do love candy corn. I still have to try.
I mean,
I
we
have
we may have to
a
find a couple more ropers and do a candy corn roper.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Why did we just think about that now? Do we
I
have time
know.
around? We for
We
obvious reasons,
could.
we plan ahead, but
We
that is such a
could.
good idea.
We could. There's something that can get bumped in October that we were plotting
Mm-hmm.
that we could jump
Mm-hmm.
into doing a roper instead.
A candy roper, a candy corn roper,
Candy cone roper. Why can't I say
candy
that?
corn roper.
We
The
could do that.
classic candy corn colors, not the
Mm-hmm.
wonky ones I currently
Yeah,
have
no,
in
no, no,
my
no, no, no,
kitchen.
no, no. I'm thinking white to orange or white to yellow to orange,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Yeah.
I have a bag of that tailgate candy corn,
Oh.
which I'm
Oh my.
excited to try, and I'm sure
Oh,
is
you
going to
haven't tried it
be.
yet?
No, I'm sure it's just as good and bad as the turkey dinner I had last year. Turkey
Oh
dinner
God,
candy
that's
corn,
right. That
which
came out.
was awesome and awful all at the same time. And I also have a bag of funfetti candy corn,
Oh, right.
all from Brock's, all official candy corn. So yeah,
Herb said the turkey dinner was a lot.
yes, yeah. There was one in there. It was the mocha coffee was
Oh.
delicious.
Oh, that
I would have
intrigues me.
that one out of those, I think there were 6 in that bag, was absolutely delicious. I eventually opened up the bag and just pulled out all of the mocha coffee because that was amazing. The turkey candy corn was kind of bland. Meh. The green bean were horrific.
Oh no.
Green bean was just
Why green bean?
It just had an aftertaste to it, which was and it definitely tasted like someone had described green beans to a computer and they came up with an algorithm to make green beans happen.
Oh, do not like.
The cranberry sauce was really strong and tasted like cranberry sauce, but everybody that I know that's tried this has a different opinion about whether that's good or not. I thought it wasn't bad, but I know a lot of people who thought it was the worst.
Interesting.
So I don't know if that just hit people different. I don't remember what the other ones were, but the green bean and the green bean was the worst.
Oh jeez.
But it was so much fun to try.
Oh dear.
Super fun to try.
Noted. I will absolutely note that one. Okay, so I think I can gently. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, actually, hold on. Let me grab the other one so you can see difference.
And while you're grabbing that one, I'll answer one more quick question because Rough Rider 91 was very kind and asked a very leading question, which is, will you be never ending today? Yes. What Rough Rider is referring to is I am the DM for Radiant Stories, which is a show that airs live on the Be Never Ending Twitch channel starting at 4 p.m. Pacific. So 2.5 hours from now. It has an amazing cast, including many of the people who worked on Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel. This week we just announced it recently. Johnny Stanton is joining us for 2 episodes. Amazing football player, geek, wonderful, awesome human. And so that's what's happening tonight. So if you want to join us, it's going to be fun. But now we have beholders to look at.
Yes, we do. Okay, so this is the beholder that I put together as the test run, and as you can see, because I did a kit bash of its own, it's got a different kind of set of eyes happening for the eye stalks. But this is what it looks like not primed, and this is what it looks like primed. So you can tell there's a difference. It's actually gone matte, which I want to have happen. So it's not this shiny plastic anymore. It is mattified, which is great. This one, because it was a test run to put it mattified. This one I put together completely just to kind of get a feel for how to assemble it. Even though I did put it up in the base, this is honestly, it didn't want to stay where it's supposed to stay, so it's a very confused looking beholder. I'll paint it later at another time and probably do something just absolutely goofy with it, kind of picturing sort of like this confused 5 o'clock shadow type of beholder. I don't know.
It definitely has it's
I beg your pardon.
I love it so much. It's so sideways,
right? Yeah.
I
So
mean,
just
if you're a floating ball of eyes, your
you express
orientation really
yourself.
doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like when you think about spaceships and
Mhm.
the reality of spaceships, which I know when we're thinking about, the visuals of movies are different, but the
Right.
reality of spaceships is it doesn't really matter what your orientation is because
No,
it's
it's
space.
just.
And so
But
beholders would be the same way. Why
hi.
wouldn't they just be sideways?
Like, I beg your pardon. Although, if you put it next to a medium mini, it almost looks like it's ready to go hump, like take a nice bite out of you.
Which is
So,
also appropriate.
yeah. So, yeah, we're going to add some color to this beholder next week. We're going to be tapping into some reds. Actually, I believe we might even tapping into the paints that we used for the Chimera paint night or paint kit that we did back with Nora in July. So, if you have that kit and you're doing this along with us, then grab those paints because I'm telling you, you can get more than one mini out of those paint pots from those paint kits that WizKids has out there. So yeah, we'll go through, we'll get this painted up. We'll do,
Yeah.
I'm thinking orange could be cute for the gazer.
Orange could be really cute.
Yeah, we'll do orange.
And will complement the red pretty nicely.
That's exactly what I was thinking. So yeah, we're gonna do some cool things, some fun things with this one, but I think for now we really are. I can tell this is definitely not dry yet. We're kind of at a forced stopping point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're kind of at a forced stopping point.
I do have a couple other quick questions.
Perfect. I was gonna say if we have more questions, great.
Yeah, a couple quick ones. We had a couple people asking about their time gates. Let's see, I already answered that one. Twitch Pal Player asks time gate choice, Dadius or Vlanya. I go Dadius. Dadius is an older champion, but has a lot of really good uses, especially for buffing intelligence characters. And the Mole's Revenge asks for time gate options, Ishii, Talon, or Rosie, none of whom are on your list. Who do you suggest? Probably Talon. Mostly because Talon is going to be more often useful than the other two. Although Ishii is, I ended up with really good gear very early on with Ishii, and she became my hardcore DPS for a very long time. And she is a lot of fun, but I think of the three, I'd go Talon because Talon has a lot of really good buffing that works for a lot of different situations. So that's my two quick time gates. I will take this opportunity to once again remind you that if you are new to Idle Champions, or if you're old to Idle Champions, or if you just like talking about D&D and Idle Champions, come to our Discord, discord.gg/Idle Champions.
Yep.
We also on the Discord have a channel specifically for Paint and Slay. So if you do want to join us either in future episodes or go through our back catalog on YouTube and know, hey, what did you use? We have a pinned post for every one of our endeavors. And if you go back to the first pinned post, that has the general stuff, with the exception of this one that we're using now, which has a lot of bonus things to have. The vast majority of the minis that we do require just a couple paints, a couple brushes, some paper towels, paper plates, and paper cups, and water, and the mini. And once you buy, we have a suggestion in that first pin tweet for a set of paints and a set of brushes. And I've been using that for 41 episodes now, and it's going to get you through a lot. So we try to offer very reasonable price-wise suggestions. And yeah, you can go there and you can also show off, even if you're not doing minis along with us, but you're doing your own minis, show off your own minis. We love seeing mini painting. Yeah,
absolutely.
And don't forget to pick up your birthday chest. If you haven't logged into the game yet, get your birthday chest. Is there anything else? I'm trying to remember because we're going to be ending a little bit early.
The time gate. Made sure everyone's talking about the time gate, which is fantastic. Oh, don't forget, we also have Monday. Make sure you tune in. No, that's not what I wanted to hide. Come back. Like, no.
Wait, we're in the blackness. No,
we're in the void. No, make sure Monday you tune in right here. And tune in to see all these lovely people playing fantastic familiars and being joined by Kelly Butler, aka the Opera Geek, who is going to be joining as our brand new familiar, Scotty the Rescue Pup. In fact, let me flip over to this one. So we're going to have Scotty the Rescue Pup joining us on September 21st at 12 p.m. Pacific as the Take This Charity Familiar. So Kelly Butler is going to be joining the cast as this adorable little poocheroo for the next 3 episodes of a Familiar Quest. So make sure to tune in. I cannot wait to see how this is all going to come together. The cast is fantastic. Tune in if you enjoy adorable and creepy and kooky. Then this show is absolutely for you. Latia Jaquiz is doing a fantastic job as the DM, and the cast is getting into some very interesting situations.
Like they always do, as a bunch of familiars. So
yes,
my favorite part is how they're navigating Waterdeep with 2 familiars who are water creatures.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's been fun. That's been fun to watch.
It's been fantastic. And the familiars are also available in the game. The core cast familiars, if you want to check that out and you need some help in the game, get yourself some familiars to help you along the way. And again, Scotty's coming out September 21st. First week of sales for Scotty the Rescue Pup will be donated to Take This org. So keep that all in mind, and we will absolutely say this all over again and keep reminding you because it's what we like to do in between coats of paint.
Yeah, we got to do something while the paint's drying and while we're also talking about your favorite time gates. Thank you to Jordan for being an awesome moderator and grabbing questions in chat so that it made it a lot easier when I was gluing my fingers to everything. Thank you to chat for helping us out and asking such amazing questions, and also the Lurking Writer for being our timekeeper. We really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll be back next week with Iris Part 3.
Yay! All right, everyone, take care and have a good weekend. Bye!